Hi guys, welcome back to shop. Hey, today I'm going to jump back on the 90 twin, and we're going to work on the control levers, the switches within those. And it's kind of a tedious little job, but it's necessary. So let me get you overhead and we'll see what I got here. Okay, I've already got this one tore apart. I didn't even think about doing this video, and I thought, well, go ahead and do this. But I've got another one, so I'll make sure that you see how I have to do this. This is the switch for, in this case, the signal lights, I believe. And these things, even if they're working right, they're 50 years old. You should take them apart and clean them and lubricate them. And you've got to usually have to bend things a little bit. This is a little more than what I have to do for the like the Enduro models. Usually those are, you just kind of bend them with a screwdriver a little bit to open them up. But this one I actually had to peel open a little bit in order to get it to come apart. And what you need to do is just get you some mineral spirits or something and clean these contacts. And clean the wiring and everything where it comes in. I'll be getting to this horn switch here in a moment. And once you've done that, I just take and blow it off with some compressed air. And you need to get down inside the switch housing also. I just use some of these. It just depends on what you're using, but get me some hemostats that I can kind of lock onto so I don't have to try to hold on to things. And an acid brush, and just get in there and clean it up. And a little compressed air to blow that out. And what's in there is, you've got, this is, let's see here. You have this little arm. This is what moves, and it'll push this over side to side within the switch. And that's what's going to go into the bottom. And then you have a spring and a little ball. So when you're tearing this apart, you want to keep your finger on it so all this doesn't explode pulling it out. And we're just going to put this all back together with some dielectric grease, and that way everything will work when we get it back together. And you see this portion right here. This is where the ball goes. When you move it this way, it'll lock into this side center right here, and when you go to the right, it's going to lock in right there. So just need to make sure you get all those parts back in there and just grease them up good. And I'm fixing to do that now. And one thing that you do want to do is take a little sandpaper and clean these contacts up. Let's see if I can find some here real quick. If it's real bad, maybe a file, but I just have a little 400 grit here. This piece that I tore off of a sheet. Just brighten them up. And then blow that off. Looks better. And let's see. We've got there's a way this has to go together. This piece is actually going to fit into here. So I believe the way the wire is bent and everything, this is proper. It's going to go down into this little area right here because it goes into the handlebar there. If you remember right, there's a hole in the handlebar. This all goes down the through the handlebar down to the middle where it clamps on and goes to where it needs to go from there. Now, I'm not going to clean, or I'll clean, but I'm not going to replace the vinyl sleeving on this because it seems very flexible, and I mean it's got some sets in it as far as how it's been setting, but it's not cracked and it's still flexible. So I'm not going to do it. I certainly do it if it needs to be done, but I don't think I need to jump through hoops to do this one. So I'm just not going to do it. So the first thing we need to do here is get a little lube inside the switch. I just needed that orientation, the proper way this is going to go, so I can get it in there properly. And actually, I think this needs to come this way. Yeah, because of this bent area here where the ball goes. If you put it in this way, it's not going to fit. It's not going to go in the housing. Okay, so it needs to come this way. So, first thing we need to do is just get you a little dielectric grease and put it in here where that ball is going to move back and forth. And also, this whole thing is going to slide in there. And I just put a little on there so that it'll slide nice. And the next thing you're going to need is just a little bit in the spring pocket. It'll protect the spring from rusting and help it move up and down a little bit. And then we'll take a little bit and put on top of the spring. Hopefully that'll help keep the ball in there. I doubt it, but it might help some. All right, now let's see if we can lose the ball. See, it's not helping at all. Oh boy. Okay, it started in. There we go. Okay, so that's in how it should go. Just keep a hold of the ball so it doesn't come out of there. And like I say, it's gonna go this way. So you just, in this case, just kind of keep an eye out, because both of these sides are made the same, it appears, kind of like a Chevrolet bow tie thing. And it's just going to fit. Oh, I'm sorry, got one more piece. I was wondering, what in the world's going on here? Okay, we've got another spring, and there again, let's get a little dielectric grease here. This stuff, it helps with connection. It, regular grease would probably hinder connection, but this stuff actually helps with it. So it goes in there, in this case the big end down. Now if I can get away from it. And again on this little piece, might do to shine that up a little bit, because that's going to go against the little terminals that we cleaned on the other part of it. Then I'm just going to clean that in the mineral spirits, hold on to it good with my pliers, blow it off, and then it just sets into that. Oh boy, this is not working good. Okay, you can see it's just got kind of a, it falls down into that hole. So now's the time to get this piece in. And I believe I've got it oriented properly. I'm just wondering. Better get some grease on that. Like I say, it does actually help with the connection. So we'll just apply a little bit. Then hook it back into that side, push it down, and then bend your little tabs back over. You don't want to mess this up too many times because I'm sure there's a limit to how many times you can bend those before they start breaking off. Alright, so that should be it. Let's see if I can get it to move here. Yep, looks like it. So we're operating all right. That's where the lever is going to go. So next thing we do is we get it back in place. And now I'm going to take this piece apart and clean it. I do one thing at a time if I can. It just keeps you from losing orientation and whatnot. So just kind of hold in on this, bend out on this tab, and there'll be a spring in there. And as you pull that one out of there you can see the spring. It goes small end down toward the button. And we've got the bracket, and then you've got a piece inside the button. And not a lot to do to this one except just clean the terminal up, it appears. And that's about it. Blow that off. That side doesn't do anything, it just fits into the button. And then we have this side, and again just take your sandpaper and clean that terminal. And I'm just going to take a little mineral spirits and clean that and then blow it off. And then we'll put it back together. This, maybe I'll clean it a little bit just as well. It's not too bad. Wasn't like the switch or the signal light switch. All right. So then we get this thing. Let's see, it's going to go back in. I think probably the button needs to go in first, so we'll drop that in. And the small end down. and that fits over the button or over the terminal, and then push it all back together and bend it back. Okay. Okay, let's just give it a quick test here. I'll hook my one lead to the wire. It's the pink wire, the other end of it. Then we'll ground this. It will be grounded when it's installed back in here. And then just push the button. There you go. So we've got contact there. Now we've got all the hardware that holds it together. This is just soap and water. I don't have a real good place to grab hold of it here. This is the switch for the left and right signal lights. There's so much you can do with them. Okay. And then we've got this little hold down. Get that in with the mineral spirits and try to clean it up. Yeah, it's got a lot of dirt on it. It'll come off. Let me get this cleaned up. What it is you've got grease, old grease, and dirt. So you've got to use the mineral spirits to get the grease off. Then you go back to the soap and water, and you get the dirt off. And what I ended up doing was cutting the bristles off on my brush a little bit so they're stiffer, so I could get in there and really go to town on the cleaning. So I think we're in pretty good shape here. So we've got the switch handle that needs to go in here to this little area right there, and then you've got the little bracket, and it goes over this same nope, wait a minute, I may have the wrong side here. I think it goes the other way. Let me get this straightened out. Okay, I think I had the wrong bracket here. I had to remember that I had two of the one side, and I didn't have the right side for this one. So I went ahead and popped the horn in there, and we just need to, it just fits down into there, and then we've got a little screw here that holds it in. Okay, and then we've got this piece that fits back into here. The other side's not as difficult because you don't have the horn in the other half. But this sets down into there. And remember, I was trying to put this piece on. Well, I had the wrong one. I had the one that goes this way, like this. And this actually fits over this little tang, and then this rounded part fits down over the cable here to hold it in. So it doesn't, it's doing two things. It's holding the cable down and it's keeping this switch here from rising up. So now we've got to get the switch arm back in there, and it goes underneath. You can see it just went in right under there. And then the screw goes into the bracket and the switch arm. You just want to make sure everything is, yep, as it should be. So now, see, I had the one where this piece here was over here, and it wasn't lining up. And I just went ahead and looked at the other side and saw what it was doing, and said, hey, I've got the wrong one here. So, okay. So there we've got this one pretty well put together. It's going to go just like this. And like I said, this is going to go up through the handlebars, and this metal piece right here that sticks up right here, it goes into the hole in the handlebars also. It's kind of a strange setup, but that's how it works. All right, now we've got this piece. Let's see here, how's this go? Just like this, I think. Well, that doesn't seem right either. Maybe. See, this is different depending on. See, I got this from a YL1, so it's going to be the electric start model. So I don't know. Maybe that is right. So I think the electric start model, the something different about it. Let me see here if I can find the other one. Okay. Yep, they are. See, the signal light switch goes on the right on a YL1, and it goes on the left on this AT-90. So you can see the L and the R right here, not very good, grant you. I've got a little white touch-up paint. We'll just put a little down in the groove there. On both of these. And get it in there. There, I think it's in. And I'm going to put a little bit of mineral spirits on this one, but not too much, to try to get that off of the top now. I don't want it to go down into the groove where the letters are. Okay, doesn't look too bad. Okay, so this one does go on this side. You see how it's facing the other way. But this is definitely the signal lights over here. We've got the brown with the white tracer and the green, which goes to that, and then we've got the pink and the ground. So this should be correct. And see if I can get, I think I'm going to put a couple of screws in this to keep it from flopping around. And this was another thing that I had to, these also were that strange 90 pitch. So I had to tap these out so I could put some new screws in, because the old ones were pretty raunchy looking. Now I can maybe push on this. Hopefully it doesn't disintegrate when I push it in there. Well, I don't know. They were very tight coming off. Maybe I need to file that just a little bit. They're very tight. See where that thread comes out? It's kind of proud there. There. Right on once I got rid of that burr. And then we've got a little screw. It was right there. Okay. So right and left. Okay. And I've got one more screw that goes in to there. Yeah, I don't know what it was with those. I guess it's just an obsolete thread. And now that I'm kind of starting to assemble things, I'm finding more and more of them. Okay, so there's that side. And we also have a bolt here for the lever, and I had to do the same thing. I had to tap this and here to the 80 pitch thread. And let's see, we've got, that's not the right one. There's the right one. And we'll put a little dielectric in there just because that's what I've got. Should be all right. So I had to thread this brass piece and the handle itself. They kind of quit doing this after a while with this insert. Well, that one's kind of not wanting to go in there. Fits there fine. Okay, we'll put it in there first and then run the screw through. That's probably not going to work though, is it? It's longer. Maybe I've got the wrong one there too. See, that's not going to go in there. Let me do some investigation. Actually, it doesn't have to go in there because part of it sticks out the top. That's why. So we've got to get it to fit this way. I'm sure it's just an alignment issue, but that's not. Yeah, it's going in there. All right. So it's got to just be an alignment problem. Alright. It's probably operator error here is probably what it is. I think it's because it's trying to start at the bottom. So let's put it in this way. See, that looks right. And now we'll get this going. Yep, that's the key. Okay, and then we've got a washer and a nut that goes on the bottom. See, the bottom part of this is threaded. So this is effectively going to work as a jam nut then. And I wonder what size that thing is. Eight millimeter. It's tight, so that shouldn't be backing out. There we go. Just hadn't gone far enough. All right. That seems to work. So I believe we're good. I just had some of my parts mixed up. Okay, on the other side then, let's see here. Okay, this is going to be the left side. Okay. Thought we had another problem here, but we don't. Okay, so this is the right side. This was the side that was broken, that I had to get another one for. It was broke out in here, probably from the accident. Okay, so we're done with the left side, so we'll set that aside. And what I just wanted to show you on this one, how we take this piece apart, and this was what I had to go looking for on the other one. See how this fits in here? Fits down into this, pushes down on the cable, and holds the lever in there at the same time. So we'll just go through the removal here, right there. And you can see that this, where the ball goes, faces out. It's not going to go up against there. So we've got to get in here and just bend these tabs a little bit. Open them up back here far enough where you can get some good out of it, good out of the opening. Okay, there you go. Lift the top off, pull it out, and there's our contact point and the spring. And then, in order to get all this out of here, you've got to push from underneath and kind of put your hand here so you don't lose anything. I'm actually going to put that ball toward the table, I think. Okay, this was kind of an issue if I remember right. And I've got the ball facing the table. Okay, so there it is. And we should have a spring under there. We do. Okay, so we've got all that out of there now. And this one's pretty greasy, so I'm going to have to get in there. And so I'm just kind of starting where I left off and showed you on the other one where we started the cleaning. And that's where we use the hemostats and some lacquer, or not lacquer thinner, but mineral spirits to get in here and clean the old grease out and the dirt. And again, we'll blow that out. Yeah, looks like some more in there. Looks like that might need to soak a little bit. Yeah. Or I may have to get some lacquer thinner. That's got some really good grease. I'll let that soak a little bit. But anyhow, we're to the point where everything is redundant as the other side, except this side is easier because you don't have the horn button. But again, just watch how everything comes apart and watch the little ball and springs, because all these handlebar switches have those in them probably to today. That's just how they're built. Anyway, the ones that I work on do. The Enduros, the Suzukis, all of them are pretty much the same. Anyhow, the rest of it is pretty much like the other side, just the reverse. Okay guys, little switch maintenance today. These are a little bit more detailed, I think, than the 69 to 73 Yamahas, the Enduros, and the early Suzukis about the same year. I think that the later model ones are a little bit easier to work on. They come apart in a few more places or something. There's something easier about them. Of course, this one I kind of got thrown off with that one bracket there because I put the wrong pieces in a plastic bag, thought those were extra stuff. So anyhow, keep track of your parts. That's the lesson to be learned here. You know, this is something not everybody's doing right now, or maybe never, but eventually you're going to have an intermittent problem where a light's not going to work, or the horn's not going to work, or something, and you're going to have to delve into this and clean those switches out. They're almost never an issue with the parts in them. It's just that they get dirty and maybe the grease gets hard and it gets to a point where it doesn't allow contact. But it's normally just to clean up everything, put it back together, and everything will work. So thanks for going along on the ride, and we'll see you next video.